I always hate that I have to have my ties made in China. And you know why they're made in China? Because China manipulates their currency.
We suffer every day. Can you imagine? We have been here for centuries and we're still lagging around. If we to start a business in Jamaica, it's one of the hardest things to start a business. While the Chinaman come from China, come to Jamaica, start a business, non-tax for 5 years. And by the time the 5 years come when he start pay tax, he making cousin and he never and he uncle come and him gone.
It's not just the Americans that Trump initially and Biden later worried that big tech in China is rising. It's not just that. That would not worry them so much on its own. It is that Chinese big tech, a company like Alibaba or Tencent, Huawei, is rising in a country where the banking sector does not have autonomous power.
Hi guys, welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. I'm B-Boy. Remember, if it's the first time I come across my video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share. Okay guys, in today's clip, President Donald Trump, the President of the United States, he is demanding China to get out of Jamaica. We all know China and Jamaica, they really have a very strong relationship, and even Jamaica and the United States, they also have a very strong relationship. But my question is, can Jamaica be able to maintain the relationship between the two countries, between China and United States, or should Jamaica be able to work with only China and leave United States, or work with United States and leave China? Kindly have a look at this clip and then we come back for more discussion.
China is the only country that has developed this new form of capital, which I call cloud capital, which is the part of capital which, when it accumulates, bestows upon its owner the most power. It's the capital that lives inside your phone, the algorithmic AI-driven capital, which is not new. It's been happening now 10, 15 years. If you think about it, there is no British or European competitor to Google, to Facebook, to Amazon.com, to Uber, to Airbnb, to any of these platforms. None. No British, no German, no French, no Indian competitor to them. China has a bigger and better version of each one of them in China. And not only that, but there is an application called WeChat that belongs to Tencent, which, imagine an application, we don't have it here in Europe. You don't have an app that allows you to watch movies like Netflix, to call a cab like Uber, to send tweets, to do that, and on top of that, to send money, to pay, to make payments for free to anyone in the world. For free, no fee, no banking fee attached. That app doesn't exist in the West. The Chinese have it. So, to the extent that the United States remains hegemonic because they have the monopoly of all payment systems. When you pay anybody, even within Britain, that payment finds its way through to the other person, to the person to whom you are making the payment, through a system totally controlled by the United States. Not by the Bank of England, not by England or the European Union, totally by the United States. This is why...
Explain that, because people don't understand. If you're using Visa or PayPal, people get that.
Well, Visa and PayPal are all American.
But a bank transfer, how's that?
Well, it is possible for a payment to be made within Britain without going through one of the filters that go through Washington. But Washington has the means to press a button and stop you from making a payment from Lloyds Bank to NatWest within London. After the Second World War, Europe and Britain had no payment system. We were, in ashes after the Second World War. The continent of Europe was in genuine ashes, and Britain was bankrupt. So when Bretton Woods rebuilt the financial system through the system of central banks, the Bank of International Settlements and all that, SWIFT, have you seen the acronym SWIFT? All this system is an electronic payment system, a messaging system, which messages one bank, £10.35 pence is going from here to there. That system is totally controlled by the United States, because it was the United States that created it after Bretton Woods in 1944, and that remains to this day.
There is no democratic president in the world, and I say truly. Who is the democratic president? Trump? Obama? Who is here in Britain? We should be clear. Democracy is an illusion. We cannot have democracy in a capitalist, imperialist, patriarchal system, religious system.
Why not?
Because this is, they want money. Because if you remove religion and capitalism and imperialism, then you will have socialism. And then no government will be there, you know. They are afraid of the real power of the people. You cannot have democracy. Because what is democracy? Democracy is real freedom.
But if you believe that none of these democracies are democracies, why do the people live with it?
Because people are oppressed. People are not organized. We are prevented from organizing. That's the key point. When I was an individual writer, even if I become famous and star, they allow me, but not to organize. The minute I started to organize women and men, I became a danger. You are not organized here. The people here are not organized.
But nobody is stopping organization here.
But they stop it.
No government is going to come and lock you up or kill you in Britain, are they?
But in a subtle way. I know the American way.
We suffer every day. Can you imagine? We have been here for centuries and we're still lagging around. If we to start a business in Jamaica, it's one of the hardest things to start a business. While the Chinaman come from China, come to Jamaica, start a business, non-tax for 5 years. And by the time the 5 years come, when him start pay tax, he making cousin and he never and he uncle come and him gone. So and listen, this have been happening for centuries. So this have nothing to do with PNP or JLP. And you know, at the end of the day, none of them no want to fix it, because all of them want us to, the black man, to stay at the back.
It's not just the Americans, that Trump initially and Biden later, worried that big tech in China is rising. It's not just that. That would not worry them so much on its own. It is that Chinese big tech, a company like Alibaba or Tencent, Huawei, is rising in a country where the banking sector does not have autonomous power, unlike Britain with the City of London and America with Wall Street. In China, because of the power of the Chinese Communist Party, the political power, the big tech companies and the banks have fused, they've become one. So you have an app like WeChat, which is Elon Musk's wet dream. What Elon Musk wants to do with Twitter is to replicate WeChat. WeChat, imagine an app that does everything. It shows you photographs, it plays music, it shows movies, it allows you to communicate, it's got something like Facebook on it, and allows you free payments. Free payments. You make payments and the bank does not retain anything either from you or from the vendor. The Americans do not have that. And they do not have that not because they don't have the technology to have that, but because, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America will never allow Google and Apple to get away with it, to take over their business. But if you fuse together big tech with big finance, you have something much more powerful, which is what the Chinese have done, than what the Americans have done, have created.
And I must say, the one country that has studied the collapse of the Soviet Union more carefully than any country in the world is China, because China knows that the dream of the United States is to make China the second Soviet Union that collapses. So how does China prevent a collapse? First point, the Soviet Union didn't collapse because of external pressures. It collapsed because of internal weaknesses. And so China realizes, to make sure I survive, I must have a very strong, dynamic economy and a strong, dynamic society. And by the way, there was a very famous American thinker, George Kennan, who said way back in 1949, very presciently, he said, at the end of the day, the outcome of the contest between United States and Soviet Union will depend on not on our weapons and troops and all that. It will depend on which society has got greater spiritual vibrancy inside, stronger. And so United States society was far more dynamic than Soviet Union society. United States thrive, Soviet Union collapse. So the Chinese know that the first priority is to make sure your economy is strong and your society is strong, which is why they're massively educating their people and growing their economy so that they don't become a second Soviet Union. The second thing the Chinese learned from the collapse of the Soviet Union was that the United States succeeded because it managed to get a lot of the neighbors of the Soviet Union to join the containment policy everywhere. Western Europe, Japan, South Korea, right? Both ends of the Soviet Union. So what did the Chinese do? The Chinese launched a preemptive strike against a containment policy by making sure that its neighbors depended on the Chinese economy. I'll give you a simple example. Singapore is part of Southeast Asia, and we are part of an organization called ASEAN. And ASEAN started as a pro-American organization, okay? In fact, when ASEAN was created on August 8, 1967, both the Soviet Union and China denounced the creation of ASEAN as a pro-American organization, right? And it's true, ASEAN was pro-American, pro-Western. And what was stunning was that even though ASEAN was pro-American, pro-Western, and we had longer dialogues with United States, European Union, Australia, Japan, everybody, none of our Western friends proposed a free trade agreement to ASEAN. The first country to propose a free trade agreement to ASEAN was China in 2001. And the impact of that China-ASEAN agreement was phenomenal. Because in the year 2000, and that's when China proposed the free trade agreement, ASEAN's trade with the United States was $135 billion, and our trade with China was only $40 billion. So US trade was, more than 3.5 times what China's trade with ASEAN was. But as a result of the free trade agreement, by 2022, even though ASEAN's trade with United States has gone from 135 to 450, 500 billion, an increase of over 3 times, China's trade with ASEAN went from $40 billion to $975 billion, almost $1 trillion. The world's largest trading relationship in 2022. So that was then there's no way ASEAN can join a containment policy against its largest trading partner, right? It's crazy. So that's how, that's part of the Chinese strategy. And I mentioned a third one very quickly. You take the Belt and Road Initiative that China has launched, building infrastructure in all corners of the world. What does that mean? Every country in the world says, oh, this infrastructure is good. I need Chinese fast trains, I need Chinese highways. And then would you join a containment policy? You won't. So it shows you that they have systematically worked out a grand strategy. But at the same time, I can tell you that the Chinese also have a lot of respect for the United States. They understand that the United States as a power is a remarkable power. And so their challenge is, even with all this strategy, they cannot underestimate what the United States can eventually do.
The United States spends almost $1 trillion every year on war making. But do you know what the budget of the United Nations is? United Nations is supposed to be an institution, a global institution to build peace. The United Nations annual budget, my friends, is $3 billion. $3 billion to build peace, $1 trillion just by the United States to produce war. You can't eat in this country. You can't find a house to live in this country. You can't go to school and study without going to debt in this country. But you can bomb any country in the world. The greatest country in the world is the greatest country, not because there's no hunger in it, but because you can destroy any other country in the world. Those are your values. The values of a country are not to be measured by its constitution. The values of a country are to be measured by its budget. And the United States spends half its budget trying to destroy the world and then wags the finger and talks about democracy. Do you see how strange this looks from outside the United States? People look at this and think, who's this guy Biden? This is crazy. He's mediocre. He's wagging his finger. He's telling us about democracy. And right outside my window is a warship that's ready to destroy my family. It's bizarre. You see, we don't want to deal with humanity as a security problem, as a problem that requires war, as a problem that requires policing. There are real dilemmas of humanity. Those dilemmas of humanity need to be transcended with the politics of love. These mediocre imperialists fear love. They promote hate. They promote hatred. They don't understand love. They don't understand compassion. They don't know what it means to stay awake every night trying to make sure everybody's got something to eat. They don't understand that. We go to the people and say, this is what we want to do. We want to build with love.
Okay. So, I'm just very relaxed when it comes to my talking to people, so I just let it flow, you know?
And have some questions.
Yeah. But if you want to just start off introducing yourself, how you perceive yourself in this world, and like, just kind of your mission statement.
My son, right, you know what? My thought on life is that, you know, we're here from creation, all of us, you know, through the love of the Creator. And because of the energy, create matter. So that's how we come to evolve to be like this on Earth. But when you check in families, your bloodline and all that, and I saying it don't matter, but it's more a spiritual thing now. You know, like maybe first time it used to matter where you come from or this or that. But for me right now, is accepting everyone as an energy, a spirit. So I don't put a label. So I don't label people from where they come from or what religion or anything. Just deal with them as, you know. But as for me, I just here for a time, just like all of us, we're on our journey. And growing up in Jamaica as a Chinese Jamaican was different, because I found that I was more privileged than most of my friends. But I didn't know prejudice until I came to the United States. We just used to, you know, share everything and, you know, play with each other and stuff like that. But, you know, the older you get into the world, and then everybody split up. But for me, I just keep the connection with the memories, that the experience that we share with each other. And even if your matter is not here, the energy is still here, you know. So that's why, as an Earth family, we're all Earth people. So the Earth family is people who really love themselves, care about themselves, and just want to free up, you know. Free up. And if everybody could live free, they wouldn't want sadness. For me, you can't say who right, who wrong. It's just either you choose happiness or you choose sadness. So like I say, it's not good or bad. It's either you choose the happiness.
Brother, I never know said this was going to be a whole thing. So, my mother is Honduran and Jamaican. My father is Chinese and Indian Jamaican. Me put the Chinese in my bio because it's what I look like. Everybody are gonna identify me first as Chinese, not Jamaican. But when me identify to people and people hear me talk, them are gonna be like, oh, she's Jamaican. So there you go. So basically, yeah. And for the people who want to be like, well, Jamaican people listen, brother, the amount of mix up people there Jamaica exhibit, hey, like, if somebody tell you say them Jamaican. Point blank period.
Mommy, what would have happened if they send me back to China? We're not dead.
That's all my father them when they wake up themselves. Yeah. Joe sing good morning.
How yeah?
And they say Shak Chow is breakfast.
Breakfast.
Me not know no more Chinese language, period. Anybody want to say me know it? Yes, me know it, but me not talking it. I know what I know. When she got China, she know not much either.
Talk to him again.
He ain't Chinese. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, bye.
Hi guys, I'm B-Boy and welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. Remember, if it was the first time you are coming across my video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share. Okay guys, I really hope you have watched the full clip, and my question is, who is Trump to tell China to get out of Jamaica? I really know and I really believe China has really done more and a lot to Jamaica, more than United States or more than America. And it's really high time, and it's the responsibility of the government of Jamaica to decide whether to do business with China or United States, as long as it will benefit the people of Jamaica and the interest of the government of Jamaica. We all know China has really invested a lot in Jamaica, and it has been pouring billions of money to infrastructure sector, and this has led to development of Jamaica, and China has really able to change the landscape of Jamaica, of how it looks. And at this point, what I can really say is that Jamaica will support China because of how they have really changed the landscape of Jamaica, because of how they have really invested a lot in Jamaica through infrastructure and through making a lot of things in Jamaica. Earlier on, we all know there was a lot of people really complaining that they want China out of Jamaica. There was a lot of Jamaicans complaining that they have went to Jamaica, they have taken all over the land, they have taken all over everything, they have investing everywhere. But China, it has really done a lot to Jamaica, more than US. And a lot of people have really come out and said that if United States want to help Jamaica, why can they stop the flooding of guns that are going to Jamaica? Why can they stop? Because these guns, they are creating or increasing the criminality in Jamaica. They are increasing high criminal rate in Jamaica because of how the small boys or the small gangs, they get this weapon, they harass people, and that's turned into criminality. It has really increased criminality in Jamaica. So if United States want or really want to help Jamaica, what can they just first stop the flooding of guns that are going to Jamaica? And the other thing, why can they go and help a country like Haiti? Haiti, they are crying on their knees to be helped by United States, but they can't be helped because they believe United States has a strong army, but it has refused. Why can they go help Haiti? Because Haiti is one of the Caribbean countries. If it can help Jamaica, what can they, how, or what is preventing them to help Haiti? We all know what's really going on in Haiti, and it's a very sad news. A lot of people are really dying. Small children, small youth, they are dying. They are involved in crime scene whereby a lot of children, small girls are being raped, even big girls are being raped. It's really sad, and a lot of people are being killed because of there is just war in Haiti that it has been, some country are really trying to stop it. And earlier on we saw Kenyan soldiers, they went there, the Jamaican soldiers sent their soldiers too, and even the Bahamas. I hope the war in Haiti will stop. So instead of Trump trying to help Jamaica, he should also try to help Haiti for what is really going on in Haiti. We want the war to stop in Haiti because we all believe Haiti, they are one of our brothers. And United States or Trump telling Chinese to get out of Jamaica, it's not a good reason, or it's not a good idea, because China, it has been Jamaica for a very long period of time. There was a time where Jamaica really needed United States, but they weren't there for them. The United States has really done very little thing for Jamaican, but China, it has really invested a lot in Jamaica. We all know these both countries, they have a strong relationship. There is a very strong relationship between Jamaica and China, and a very strong relationship between Jamaica and United States, because we all know a lot of Jamaican, they live in United States. They go to United States to search for greener pastures, whereby a lot of Jamaicans, they are living in United States and they are doing their jobs. And at the other hand, there is a lot of Chinese. There is Chinese Jamaicans. We all know there is only not Chinese investors in Jamaica, but there are also Chinese investors who went to Jamaica long ago. And these countries, they have good relationship. And I really hope if the Jamaican government can maintain both the relationship, or can maintain both two countries to do business with them, because if they can be able to do business with Jamaica, both two countries, it will make Jamaica to be the world #1 country in the world. It will really help Jamaica, because of these two Western countries. If they all allow or be able to do business, or they allow Jamaican government to do business with both of them, it will make Jamaican to be so famous, to be so developed through maybe infrastructure, educational system, hospital system. Jamaican, it will become the #1 world country. And I will really like if this both country will allow or will be able to work with Jamaica. Both of them, both China and America, will be able to work with Jamaica, because it will really help Jamaica as a country. It will really help Jamaica as an island. We all know Jamaica is so famous, and this is the reason why these two countries are fighting and taking advantage of Jamaica, because of how it's so famous, because of how it has really influenced a lot of countries, because of how this island is beautiful. This is the reason why all these countries want to invest in Jamaica. They all want to do business with Jamaica, because of how Jamaican, it has made a record of a lot of tourists going to Jamaica. And earlier on, there was a time where United States was warning some tourists not to go to Jamaica, and I really wonder if this is the same United States that is telling Chinese people to get out of Jamaica. But Jamaica is famous for a lot of tourist attraction, and this is the reason why this country has become the most influential country in the world. A lot of people really want to go to this country. Imagine a country being fought by two most powerful countries in the world, by China and United States. They just want to go and invest and do some business with this small Caribbean island. You can imagine how it has really influenced a lot of countries. This is the reason why Donald Trump wants China to get out of Jamaica and to take all over. Though we don't know the good reason, but what's your point, or what's your point of view about Donald Trump telling all the Chinese to get out of Jamaica? So guys, if it was for the first time you are coming across this video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for your time. May God bless you. One love.